Good afternoon, or good morning, actually, from the CMBA Nuc Yard. Happy Father's Day to everyone. We are going to be joining the group here in a few minutes and getting started. Get a little closer here. Which, these three guys right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm probably just going to do this one.
Do that one, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. And Brian is going to do, this is Brian Bender, by the way.
Hey, everybody.
And he is our beekeeper, master beekeeper for the Nuc Yard.
Nuc Yard manager.
Nuc Yard manager, okay. And he is going to show us a couple things today, which I'm still floored about that he wants to do one particular thing, but as he says, it's all about the hive.
Yeah, the colony.
The colony.
Not the queen.
Right.
So we're going to go in, we're going to find our queens, we're going to pinch them because the abundance of drones in the spring for queens to mate is not as plentiful as they are now. So the queens will be better mated now. So we're going to do that. Let them raise a new queen.
So we're going to kill them and then we're going to pinch them. I don't want to say kill, but it's going to promote the workers to create queen cells.
Yeah, they're going to make a new queen.
And make a new queen.
And because the nectar flow has essentially stopped in Maryland, they're not going to swarm. Mm-hmm. So they will just have a tendency just to raise a few cells.
Okay.
And then they'll pick the best ones. Mm-hmm. And then that one queen will go out and mate and come back. And that'll be that. So
okay. All right.
The chance of swarming is minimal.
Minimal.
Flow is over.
Okay.
So that's why we do it now.
Okay. For all of us who've been watching and making sure we had queens, it's really a killer.
Okay. I don't want to say anything, but you especially. I'm just kidding. Me and Chris.
He is the president, after all.
Yeah, he's also my oldest friend in the bee club. So. We got a little. Yeah.
Longevity, not age.
Yeah. It's all done with love. Check this one thing, man.
Wow.
We don't have anything on this one much this side of Scott Honey, but you should see this next one.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So they've been working on that. Okay. Yeah, bring the car up. We'll load it right in for you. This guy. So you've already got some queen cells up here. Interesting. Let me get down a box.
And for those like me who do not have our hives looking as nice as these do, we are in the middle of an agricultural area here, and there's a lot more area for them to forage. That doesn't always mean they're going to have more honey, but generally it doesn't hurt. Although some city beekeepers get plenty.
I've got one in the city this year. It's doing Boston.
Really?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, in general, they stagger the mowing of these fields out here, so the clover's pretty prominent.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of drones in here. I think this queen's all well swarmed down.
before the new cell is packed?
Usually it happens about the same time.
About the same time.
Putting up here still. Yeah, I like to check those new frames pretty early because the queen will be drawn to that fresh comb to lay in. So if she was in and laying, that's what she would try to gravitate towards.
That's good to know. So if you put fresh wax foundation in there, do you put it in the center?
Yeah, I usually put it in between a couple drawn combs. It just helps them to draw it out. Keeps it from getting too weird. But as you can see with that one, how they drew out the ones next to it really super fat, and then that one is really skinny.
Right.
But once you extract that honey and cut those combs back, flat,
Right.
the next year they should draw them out all even.
Assuming I cut my wax better than I did last time. Which is also my first time.
All right, well, this one has clean stuff. I'm going to leave this one alone.
They've already got the idea.
Yeah.
They got the memo.
You know, they've been doing it so many years, they've been trained.
That's right. Uh-oh, it's June. Brian's going to come kill the queen. Let's get started.
Seriously, we got to go now. The dearth is starting. We're out of here.
We're out of here.
Anyway, I'll let them sort that out.
So I'm seeing deeps here this year.
Yeah.
That's why he's lifting it up.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I thought there wasn't enough workout in just It really kind of falls off.
What's 60 or 70 when you can carry 80 or 100,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, the 90-pound deep full of honey sounds much better.
It does, yeah. That's actually
How much can you lift? Oh, 3 deeps. We wish.
Yeah.
So are you liking it? The deeps are over the mediums?
I like for its universalness.
Yeah.
We just had a ton of deeps up here, and
Right. From the work.
In your own yard, though, what do you use?
I use all medium.
I do?
So we kind of made a large all deep donation to the Nuc Yard.
There you go. And there you
A
have
lot of
it.
deeps up here.
We weren't...
So you have no deeps at all.
If we were going
Me,
to
no.
Be heard.
be here, not be here. And so we said, whatever we do, we're just going to make it all one size, simplify. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, one side of it.
Last year, it was just all of us. This is what went in.
Sorry about that.
Well,
Team
is it?
Yeah.
We all just did what we had to do.
I watched you a couple of times live. I asked questions. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's how Nuc Yard Live was born. We're like, well, you have in VR, but bring VRD.
That's right.
I have one of those cooling calls. So of course I didn't do that.
I have 3 of them too. Not with me.
So your goal is to pinch off your queens just to have some healthy ones going into the winter?
Yes. Well-mated queens come into winter.
And then the break and the brood will also help drop
Might.
the row loads, and the colony.
What happens if you have a new queen?
What's that?
What happens if you have new queens?
Like you
How new?
Well, one from you.
Oh, well, that's. So if you don't want to pinch your queen, you can take your hive and make a nuke and let that hive requeen. And if they don't, or if you don't like her, then you can
put her back.
remerge them.
Gotcha.
I mean, it's not too late to make that split and then build that other hive up for winter. But I mean, you'll notice of those 2 hives that'll die, it'll be the one with the older queen. So at some point, you're just like, well, what's the point? You've been wasting the resources and the time.
So even if we got the nuke this spring,
Yeah, those are the worst ones.
those are the worst
I
ones.
mean, I'm not gonna lie. Those spring nuke queens are the ones that are like, there's just so many queens being mated, and the drones are just limited.
Yeah.
They're just not ready yet,
Oh, I see.
and they're pushing them to get them out, and so they're just not mated like they should be. I mean, you might luck out and get a good one, but the odds are not in your favor.
Well, there aren't any eggs up there? Or brood?
There is a little bit.
So if that's the case, is it just because we all want to get started with our bees first thing in the spring that we buy nukes first thing in April? Or, I mean, wouldn't we be better off waiting till May or June?
Well, it's tough in Maryland because the flow is so short that, yeah, it stinks that you got to get your bees so early, and their queens aren't going to be as well mated, but it's just kind of like, as long as you can have them re-queen now, then it kind of helps with that.
Right.
I mean, even Jason over at Wood Camp, he's been doing where you can buy a nuke, and an option is to get a summer mated queen.
Uh-huh.
So so once you get your nuke with the spring queen, he'll give you the summer once they're mated.
Oh,
Which I completely think is the greatest idea.
yeah, that is.
I've
So
been
you-
doing that too. I just think it's cool that other people are
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah,
Because it's the best way to be successful. I
yeah.
think.
Well, I'm very new at all of this, so what you're saying is new information to me. So I got 3 colonies this spring.
Yeah.
All 3 of my hives have swarmed.
Okay.
So do I need to do whatever it is you're doing today with a new queen?
Probably not.
Okay.
If they swarm, they're making their own queen.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're doing basically what he's doing.
He's doing.
Yeah.
That's why there's one hive that swarmed, and they're starting to make their own queen. We're not going to mess with that one.
So when I stood in my yard crying that my bees were flying away, it really wasn't a bad thing.
No, you
I did too. I was
too.
calling everybody like, oh my God, what do I do?
Bang pots together
And
next time.
do you know what? Bonnie Raindrop, who is our legislative person, she
You're on
called the
time.
day my bees swarmed, and I'm like, I'm okay, but my bees swarmed. And she said, oh, but that's a sign of a good, strong, healthy. I'm like,
Yeah.
It wasn't until the third person that I talked to said, that's really not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
Okay.
well, let me get out of the tree with my ladder.
Yeah.
oh, there's lots of brood on the other
Out
side.
with the old.
There's some drone in there too. Lots of drone.
They also
Oh,
made a
yeah.
medium
Go out
comb.
with
Yeah.
at the bottom there.
Yeah.
And that's what they do.
Like there's a queen cell on the bottom.
Yeah, that's open.
It's tough.
Such spotty brood.
Yeah.
You ought to see mine. One here, one over here.
So did yours?
You're not even zipped in.
Huh?
That's where they go.
Oh, jeez. Thank you. I put my earpiece in.
Yours, are you looking for the queen? Or you
Yeah. I'm looking for the queen.
Yeah, I put that in boxes because they're
Queen and
and when I went
I'm kind of looking too because what's weird is that how they, as the brood is hatched out in this cell, they've been filling it back with nectar. So that's usually a good sign that they're had swarmed or were thinking about swarming it. So I'm just kind of thinking that maybe this hive is already swarmed.
So can you repeat that,
So you
please?
want them to swarm? I mean, I'm confused here. So you want your hive to swarm now?
No, you don't want them to swarm now, but
If
because
they
of the
have
dirt.
swarmed.
If they have swarmed in the last month, I would say it's not the end of the world.
So like when you saw my hive and you came by and you thought they had swarmed and we re-cleaned it, that hive I still think is not doing well.
They're probably building up because it hasn't been that long.
Right. So still just leave them alone, see what they do. I mean, for how long do you leave them alone and see what they're going to do before you kind of assume it's a loss? Indefinitely? At what point do you just say, pack it up and...
I usually say like the end of August. If a hive is dwindling, they're probably not going to build up for fall. Because usually I'll start feeding in August and then September, and I want to be done feeding by October.
Liquid.
Yeah, liquid sugar syrup. So
But you could paper in a week.
If you don't put in, if you put in your feed and they're not building up nice by August, the end of
I
August,
I guess I texted you about 2 weeks ago. I put on feed on both hives. They took none of it.
okay.
That's
I'll
good.
just keep an eye on it because they'll probably start taking it now.
Okay.
Because it seems like the flow is starting to dwindle down
Okay.
pretty good. Like we had like old combs and stuff from a cutout I did where they had honey in them and stuff, and the bees weren't touching it, and then all of a sudden they were all in that bucket and taking that honey. So
And then, so I've done it twice with mud. So when you put I've got the top feeder with the two reservoirs. You put the inner cover on. Some people, if you look,
I usually put the inner cover below the feeder.
Right.
That'll discourage them from drawing coming up.
That's
into
right.
the field. And also when I feed it, sometimes I'll drizzle a little down the hole in the center
To encourage them
to
up.
tell them, hey, there's food up here.
Okay.
Because sometimes they won't smell it and go up.
But if you put like vinegar or honeybee healthy, that would attract them to them. To smell that it's really strong.
Vinegar does what?
It helps them find.
Oh,
the-
okay.
But I had a jar and it already had mildew around it after a few days. Because in the heat,
I've got the ones, the reservoir, the top feeder, the top feeder.
What did you say you think? Why did you think this hive may have swarmed already? I missed that.
Oh, because of the cap brood, the cells that had hatched out, they had backfilled them with nectar. But I'm seeing a lot of young larvae in that last frame, so I'm thinking she might still be in here.
I have a hive like that that's doing that. It's not backfilling, but we've got spotted brood in some spots. But I've got eggs, all kind of stuff. I had a huge swarm. I wasn't managing correctly. And I ended up with 4 hives out of 1.
Wow.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, it was perfect. I'm having an issue understanding this managing hives in the neighborhood. But anyway, point being, you and the is, I
That
have
happens.
one of them I combined, so I have 3 hives now. But anyway, they're all doing good. They all have a lot of brood. One of them has the spotty brood, just like you showed. But they're all starting to draw comb because I'm out of drawing comb. So now they're getting just plain boxes. But they all seem to be doing good. And actually, the box that had the spotty comb or brood, I saw her queen, and she's huge.
Nice.
Good.
I
Well,
never
tell her to
seen a queen.
get working.
I think she was being like, here I am, dummy.
Yeah, well, start laying down.
So I'm just
Give her
leaving
2
alone.
weeks. Give her 2 weeks. Give her 2 weeks. You saw the queen. Give her a couple weeks
Oh,
yet.
they've been laying all along.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're
But
good.
I had the spotty, just in that one hive, it was the funny looking brood.
And this was, how long ago was that?
Yesterday, the swarm was in April, and it wasn't a swarm, it was more like when he came to help me, he said, this isn't a swarm, it's a whole hive.
Yeah.
I was huge, it was big. And my neighbor's too.
And you got it?
Wow.
That's how we got 4 out of, and I have 3 very big ones.
So anyway, to look at a queen and know how old she is.
Holy, she's marked. Otherwise, I'm not.
Well, if she's really skinny, she's probably virgin.
Sometimes, like, I mean, I probably don't even know how many times my dad was born, so I don't know how old each queen may be. Right.
Well, if they swarmed, then she left.
So if it swarmed, and that used to be a marked queen in there, and then you go in and she's not marked, that's a new queen.
Somebody told me that they could, when after a swarm, you catch the queen and you put her in like that they would kill the old queen. Yes,
There's 2 queens.
If there's 2 queens.
Okay, so that's how my bottom. Oh no, he's got that brood in the bottom. I'm so jealous.
I don't think you ever totally learn.
When
everything.
Well, you can't
I mean,
now. Keeping bees in there is just a disaster.
Yeah, well, I usually have a special
But I don't want to be in the south keeping bees in there.
cage.
I don't understand the reason behind killing them.
To let them raise a fresh one. Because more than likely she was spring mated with not fully mature drones. So she's going to run out of sperm in the middle of the winter. So the cluster won't be able to regenerate itself, so they're just going to freeze to death. So instead of saving yourself that heartache of having a dead hive, you just have a dead queen now.
I think I'd rather have a dead queen than a dead out.
I've never seen a queen. No, I saw one yesterday, and that's because she showed it. I couldn't find them.
Well, believe me, now that I'm looking for her, I'm never going to
You're
find her.
never going to find her.
I have my little glasses on, and I'm doing my thing. I can never find it.
I got the queen spotting book out of the library.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Where's Waldo? Which I didn't really read the instructions, and it's a fold over, so I don't know if it's on this side or if you open it up and it's on that side.
All right.
There, really? Okay. Well, by that lady.
Yeah.
Karen.
And I know what she looks like, and I know what I'm looking for, but I can find one.
Okay, good call. I didn't get that far. I read it in bed, and I'm like, fall asleep.
When I got my nuke this spring and took it to install it in my hive, I immediately spotted that queen. My hive from last year, I never saw her. Never, ever. And now that hive swarmed in the spring, and I think it may have swarmed once or twice more. But I was in it the other day, and we spotted her right away. So,
So if you have a really big hive going into fall, like really big,
Tall.
could you, the one that I had at Israel was big. I thought that was good. It was too big. So how big is too big when you can split them in the fall?
I would never put a hive in the fall. They're just,
Okay, so then what I did wrong was not split her early enough in the spring.
yeah. I mean, you need now or maybe July would be the latest I would split. I mean, it's just tough because if you have drawn comb and you're going to feed and you know exactly what you're doing, then you can split
I give
later.
them their
But
honey back, so I don't take their honey.
yeah, but this just, I mean, like the spring is a natural time for them to swarm and split and draw comb and all that stuff. So it's better to do splits in the spring because once the dirt starts, they're just, if the nectar's not coming in, they're not going to be like, oh, hey, let's draw this comb out and, we're ready to make another colony. They're just going to kind of be like, we need to survive, so we're going to take what we have and just kind of use it.
It was like 6 medium boxes high, full of
6?
Yes. Oh, she was huge. She was huge. And they were full of bees. I had swarm trapped like 3 of them all around the yard. And of course, she didn't use them. She went to a tree. But when it split, I had enough for one hive full of 3 boxes, mediums, another hive with 2, and the hive that had 6 we broke down to 4, and that was full of bees.
Wow.
So I should have, and that was April, so I should have split her maybe somewhere around a nice warm day in March.
No, April's fine to split.
Sounds like April, May, or June.
I
Right,
just
it's
missed it a couple
A swarm in May,
ready before me.
something. A swarm in June, over the moon.
Over the-
Swarm in July.
With the winter hive.
Say goodbye.
What's the May?
Just kind of, sometimes if you
What's the May? It's
add frames in between the brood frames to give them kind of space, they'll think, oh, look, we got all this extra space, and that'll keep them from swarming and stuff. But, I mean, swarms happen. It's just part of beekeeping.
Yeah, I'm just trying to determine how I could have prevented tearing up my neighbor's tree and having somebody come and help me because that swarm was big.
well, you can't tell them where to land when they're swarming.
But every
But you must be in a great location.
I have at least 2 empty hives on the ends, and almost half the time I'll have a swarm of moving. So,
Wow.
And a box everywhere, I had lemon oil or lemongrass oil.
Blue comb in it?
Huh? Yes, I did. I had it all. She got good too.
that neighbor's tree.
I'm not going to be a good neighbor.
So when you store drawn comb, can you store them in high bodies, like put a piece of board or something over top of them and
Doesn't work.
like out in the garage or something?
It's not
Huh?
really. You'll get
Worm?
moths.
Moths?
Yep, gypsy. I'm not gypsy moth.
Yeah.
I
Those.
put mine in the freezer first,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
wrap it, put them in a box, and then I wrap them with that plastic wrap.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I just happen to have access at work.
Okay.
to the little
Look up beekeeping hacks. A lot of people like put up 2 strings and then all the frames going up. So open air, the moths don't like light air.
Okay. All
They
right.
like dark and closed up.
Oh,
But I had them in Tupperware. They got in. I had them all taped up and covered in my garage. Got in. Wow. The whole thing.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
but I put them in the freezer, and then that
Right.
stuff that
The
they
freezer's
wrap
supposed to kill
pallets.
them.
Yeah. Well,
I saw that too. That's a lot
Yeah.
of work.
I have them in the freezer now because I have small hive beetle larvae.
But then I got to start.
And I only do it one time. I put it in the freezer for them. I put them in the freezer. I put everything in the freezer.
Yeah, well, if you have this space,
Gosh, Brian, you usually find a queen right off the bat.
Yeah.
Now if you're looking, you can't find her.
And I wrap it,
I
and
saw that before.
Sorry.
yeah, and then I
A lot of these running in the box.
Yeah.
I left empty comb in the shed.
I have
Comb with
that.
honey I keep in the basement.
Well, there weren't a lot of. It wasn't a lot of. Are there eggs in the bottom?
No.
What's new?
There was some brood, but not a lot of eggs.
My bottoms are empty.
So are mine. I switched them.
You did.
My queens are moving up.
Right.
I hate to use a queen excluder because I really just want my girls to be happy. So she wants to go up, I move up. But she was laying in the second, third, and fourth boxes.
Right.
So I moved the second box to 1, 3 is 2, and 1 is now 3 because it was like empty.
Right.
It's like she didn't like the box.
That's a big deal.
So I put that on the third. Is that okay? Good.
Wait,
You already
what?
did it. Oh.
Sorry.
I have 2 queens that don't like the bottom boxes at all.
Yeah.
She just flipped them.
I just moved the whole boxes, and now my third box is my old post box because she's laying all the way up.
Is it foam or foundation or what's in the box?
Yeah, it was turned,
Yeah, that's cool.
and I'm running out, so now they're getting grown. Now they're the draw.
Well, what's in that
The
box that
bottom
you put on
boxes,
top?
those were drawn cones.
Okay, well, they'll probably fill up what they can.
Well, I moved
Yeah.
them, so she had to fill out. But she keeps moving up. She doesn't move it down, so I
You're still looking for the
Yeah, you
queen?
can definitely swap it. But yeah, I'm going to go back through. If you want to get started, Stephanie, and your 3, you can.
What are we doing?
Looking for the queen to kill her? Pinch her.
I came mostly back.
Pinch her. Be nice.
So moving a box that isn't a bad thing. Like I'm not gonna
Yeah,
kill it.
sometimes they...
No, I mean,
It was just the easiest. I gave her 2 roots and she just kept moving up.
yeah, and sometimes if it's a screen bottom, they'll avoid that because of the airflow
Oh,
down there.
okay.
So that's why we always use solid bottoms, because I've noticed that with the screen bottom, the bees will ignore that bottom half of that bottom box.
Oh,
Just
okay.
because of the
This is
airflow.
one of the 3 different answers from 2 beekeepers.
They need
Because
it.
I also read that airflow is like the best thing. So to have the bottom board open,
If it's like you
No,
have
'cause,
like
well,
2
I always read that the bees can control the airflow with 1 entrance better than with 2.
okay.
So even with the solid bottom board, some people use an upper entrance, and that's even counterintuitive for the bees because they can control the airflow inside just by fanning their wings. So 1 entrance is all they need. Like if they live in a tree, that's all they have. So.
Okay.
True.
and then the wax in general, they say it.
Well, then maybe I'll put my bottom boards back on. That makes sense because they're hanging out on the screen on the bottom.
Yeah, mine were doing that too. It's just,
You have to try to stop the airflow.
oh, really?
So they were trying to stop the airflow.
You know, if you like maybe
See, and mine are in the sun like
I
this
wouldn't
all the
spray down
time.
any coat now. Because it's just too
Mine aren't. I got to move mine this winter.
much. But early next spring, I would say.
and I put their quilting boxes on. I always have quilting boxes on. The only thing I did was I moved the wood chips like over towards the end so that they have the center is just screen. But they still.
Stone? Here, get some smoke. Get some smoke.
Nope. I didn't come to do anything, so I didn't bring blood.
Can't ever trust those bees. They smell skin and say, ooh.
And mine seem to like it better when I'm quiet. They're calmer when I'm quiet. See what?
Cool.
You just had it in your hand. You were standing here by me. And I put my apple bar on yesterday.
I don't really know anything about it.
What, you don't use
Apple
apple?
bar.
What do you use?
The only thing I ever use, if I use, is Assoc after Beekeepers.
I use that all the time, but you can't use it. You're not supposed to use it. I used it.
I never have a mite issue really in the summer.
I can't help you, but
I did it
I can
in
watch.
May.
Split our hives all the time.
I'm having an issue with that.
So got the
So I used oxalic acid vapor all fall, all winter. And the last one I did was
I wish oxalic acid killed small hive beetles. It doesn't. There's a lot hanging on the bottom down there.
right. Yeah, that's probably. Yeah, you're not really supposed to use it when
I've been using this stuff called beetle butter. Beetles. I'm trying that out.
Yeah. I would just refer to that. The health coalition. They have the management tool. You can pick, what time of year it is, what's going on in the hive, and
Well, I did it in the spring because I split them. So exactly what I used. Okay, split them. And then I did it in May. But I like it. Anyway, that's what I was told that it was okay to let me go, but that's not so much issue with people in the neighborhood.
yeah,
There's proximity, and my biggest issue with it is that I don't
yeah. Being neighborly, it's best to manage your swarm. So doing the early spring splits is sort of like simulating a swarm. Yeah, so you can catch them before they're making their own queen cups, or if you see the queen cups, just take your queen out and some brood and food and put them in a hive and then clean after you just swarmed them.
Debbie asked a question here. Should we inspect to the bottom now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Make sure they got room.
Check the queen cells.
See how the laying pattern is. I mean, the queen will lay less as the nectar flow dwindles down. So
Do you think we have, what, a couple more of these?
I think it's pretty mature.
Yeah.
I was going to start feeding them. I took some honey so that they had room to draw some more honey. 6 or 7. But anyway, so now they have to draw the comb, so I was going to start feeding them so they could
You can do that. You can do that. They'll probably start taking it now. The draw comb.
They can't really draw comb with that.
They can't draw comb when?
Outside, when it's not like a flow is on, so either, early springtime when the flow's going, or if you're feeding them so much that it's more than, they can just eat,
Oh, okay.
in one go, then
That's what I was
And they
saying.
have to
They draw some more
pour
time.
it
Because I was in a bad way looking for equipment, going from one big one and a small one to four.
Don't forget, if you're a member, you can sign up and you can come out to the Nuc Yard and you can help hands-on. We have two groups here. We have Brian doing his, and then we've got Chris Hart and Steve Carson. Kaysen. I never remember his last name. And then over here, we have another group, and Stephanie, and two new beekeepers back over here, and they're doing the same thing. Oops.
Yeah, they're fired up. Got all the young larvae here. She should be like right here. Ooh, excellent. She knows what's coming.
Rebecca Brown says, hi, Brian.
Hey, Rebecca. Happy anniversary.
Where's the breeze when you want one?
mine's kind of running out, but if you can
Mouse damage, really.
What do with the ring in there? Fill it in.
I also took my arch introducer out and just put spoon over it. Gave him a little hole for spoon.
Cool.
It's just like that. I mean, my girls were very hot.
Oh yeah, and it makes it tough to dry honey if it's, with the male and humidity.
But we also are getting into robbing season, too. You gotta be careful of
I'm
that.
hoping my girls are strong to take care of it and it's going to close the top.
Sounds like you have a lot of
They
them.
have too. I listen to everything everybody tells me and I think about it and
Gotta do what's right for your hive, yeah.
well, I can't switch it. I keep it.
mean, I've had some hives where I had to shake every bee into an empty deep in the bottom and just look.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes you just never find her,
Yeah.
especially when the hives get big like this.
Well, I'm sure other new beekeepers are going to agree with me. Oh, good. I'm not the only one who can't find my queen.
I'm going to put a bottom board in one of them and see if that. Not that I don't believe you.
I started with a solid bottom board, but I had so much condensation in
See,
my
that wasn't,
hive.
yes, that
It was like a rainforest in there.
well, mine wasn't that bad, but
I put the screen on. I haven't had a problem since.
But if I'm gonna, I guess I could keep switching them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that alone. When I ask a question, and I'm kind of right, I get that.
Whatever you're doing was right. The humidity, moisture. They're really cheap. And you can test it with like a drop.
You know what I wear? Blue 9mm latex gloves, rubber gloves. They never bite my hands.
Well,
I have trouble with those because I can't grab with it.
my mentor had that, and she got stung so many times in her gloves. They finally got through to them. She got new ones, but she likes the latex too.
Yeah, they hardly ever bite. The only time I get bit on my fingers is if I squeeze something.
Well, the only time I've been stung on my hands is when I did not have my gloves on. So if I'm just taking a quick peek, I don't put them on. But when I'm doing stuff like this, I wear my gloves.
Seriously? I'm so over these cicadas.
They're almost done.
They were so bad in my yard, I'd wear half to go outside.
Yeah. Put your beekeeper suit on.
Little thing.
You found her?
Yeah, she's got back in the box.
She's red though. Wait, this is no.
Here's the little queen. So this side of the box was still pretty calm, and the other side was scanning really well. So I was kind of thinking we were getting closer to it. I didn't mark them all. Oh, she's in this box.
Okay, let's zoom it in, and she's gone. That is pinching the queen.
Thank you for your service.
Yes.
I put her back in, let them mourn, but that's a human trait. I don't think the bees really care.
So now you're just.
Well, but then they at least now know that she's dead, so then they'll get
Yeah.
busy, right?
Well, I think, yeah, the lack of queen pheromone in the hive will start to dissipate.
Right.
And they'll just kind of be like, oh, gotta make a new queen.
Right.
And you're just gonna let them do their own thing.
Yeah. We're gonna come back in 3 weeks, and there could be eggs, and if not, it might be 4 weeks.